The Bank of Boston, founded in 1784 with scores of offices around the globe, it's been called the monarch of New England's financial world. But Steve Young reports that today the Bank of Boston faces charges it did business with the wrong kind of family.
According to the former head teller at this branch office, the Bank of Boston for years accepted paper bags full of cash from businesses run by a reputed New England crime family headed by Gennaro Angiulo. The bank did not report the transactions as required by the federal government. A grand jury investigation has led to a bigger revelation. Bank of Boston failed to report the international transfer of more than $1.2 billion over a 4-year period.
The deposits and the withdrawals were made basically by airplane flights back and forth across the Atlantic.
Most of the money moved between the Bank of Boston and 3 Swiss banks. More than 1,000 reports were not filed, despite a 1980 regulation making it mandatory to report individual overseas transfers larger than $10,000. Bank of Boston says it overlooked the new regulation.
This was filed, and until something brought it to our attention, and unfortunately nothing did, we didn't file.
But Assistant Treasury Secretary John Walker says it is inconceivable they weren't aware of the requirement. The bank was fined $500,000, the biggest such penalty ever. Displaying $500,000 in brand new vacuum-packed cash, the bank said what it transferred was untainted money like this. But crime experts say it is likely the 10s and 20s that came back was mob money routed through secret Swiss bank accounts so U.S. authorities would lose the trail. Since the bank pleaded guilty to the felony, several surrounding communities have begun pulling money out of the bank.
And I really do not want my city to be involved with a bank at the present time that has not only this cloud hanging over them, but a fine that designates that an alleged criminality did take place.
In Boston today, the head of the President's Commission on Organized Crime appealed to the social conscience of the banking industry.
Every dose of heroin, every dose of cocaine, every bullet is paid for by the monies which they have chosen not to open their eyes to see.
Said one federal official, for a bank to allow the mob to launder money is no different than permitting it to do a drug deal in the lobby. Steve Young, CBS News, Boston.